Hello everybody and welcome to Aeterno UK with me, Joe, and I'm here with coverage today of the Stop Drop Gaming League, rounds 8 and 9 from the GP2 section. This is your official commentary from me, and yeah, we've got 2 rounds, as I say. We've got Montreal and also Silverstone. So let's take a look at the standings before those 2 rounds. We have Mitchell 15 points clear at the top from his teammate, with Matt only 27 points off the lead that Mitchell has set. Chris is in 4th place with Samster in 5th. Shaney not racing for these 2 races, it sits in 6th, with myself in 7th, and Speed Demon is there in 8th position, but unfortunately he won't be racing anymore. Let's get on with the racing though here in Canada, with Mitchell taking pole and myself down in 7th, a lot down from the heights of Jerez. Chris is in 8th just behind me, and let's see what we can do for this race. So we've got the lights coming on now. We've got 3, 4 and we've got 5 lights, and we are lights out and away here in Canada, and get a little bit bogged down at the start, but as we shift through the gears we're getting up nicely, not revving up too much as we throw one down the inside, and there's a flying Force India there of Starkey, unlucky to be caught. And now I'm trying to get the run on Robin, 2nd in the championship at the moment. He's running the prime tyre, myself on the option, but he cuts right across the grass there, and whether it be legal or not, he's got the advantage on me anyway, as he locks his brakes slightly enough to just about get away from me as I wobble on the exit there and nearly lose a place, which would have been a complete disaster for me, as now this is a corner which I could not get right all week. As you can see, I bumped it right over that curb as we now run up to the hairpin at the back of the circuit. So nicely braked into there as Robin goes wide, and there's an opportunity, but I get bashed off completely, and Starkey manages to get through that carnage without any harm. So he's trying to reap his rewards by trying to gain 5th place off myself. It should be an easy move, but I seem to have good top line speed as I've got the racing line as we go into the chicane, and he will not yield at all. Runs it over the curbs, and that has completely destroyed my run onto the pit straight. Well, whether I like it or not, it's completely scuppered my plans of getting that place back. In fact, I've ended up losing 3 places in the space of a couple of straights, but I managed to now get the run on Itachi and got the inside line. I'll take that. That's very nice, but he runs me out. Oh, and I've just clipped the barrier, and that's a bit of my front wing on, just an M plate I think, but still not gonna it's not gonna help me, is it really, being a slight bit of front wing down. Now I guess you could probably say that's a racing incident. There was a little bit of lag, but it is nowhere near as bad as we had in Jerez. There was no cars in the wall this time, luckily, and I didn't think there was in Silverstone either. As now we've got Itachi trying one down the inside, and that is a lovely move from him. I could not turn in at all, but it's beautifully done by him. And now we'll try to get the run on this first and longest straight that we have on the circuit before coming onto the pit straight through the chicane. But that's him disappeared now and off for the race, as you'd expect. Not much happened. Everybody settled into a real formation on lap 9. I may appear 6th on this, but that was because others had pitted before me. Taking the options a reasonable amount into the race, and they were still feeling good, but I just did not want to push them too much. And the white banded prime tyre go on. Now there's 2 gaps, or there's a gap in compounds, which can often mean that there is quite a bit of time difference between the 2 tyres, but this was a lot more durable during the race. It's very similar to Singapore in that sense. And lap 19, still nothing happened. A bit of a boring race from my perspective. I know that there were some really, really good battles out there, and it is a shame that we don't have a lot more POVs. But as you can see, coming up to 5th place now, it's good for me. Getting ahead of Mackenzie after his 2nd stop, and Robin, who was trying to work the 1-stopper, started off in the prime tyre, so he's got to do 16 laps on those options. And I tell you what, he's not doing any tyre conservation, and I do not blame him one bit. He's the fastest man on the circuit, And as you'd expect, he just breezes past me. I mean, I'm no real competition for him at all. I'll try and get the run on him here, but no guarantees at all. And he's just a little bit too far away, and he has the DRS, don't forget, which you get when you're within 1 second of the car ahead at the detection point, and that was nicely done from him. In 6th place now, only 9 cars running. Unfortunately, I had a few connection problems. And then we've got Mackenzie coming up the inside here for, hopefully, 6th place for him. But I was planning on coming into the pits at the end of this lap. So just so long as he doesn't pull out ahead of me, then it'd be okay. But unfortunately, he isn't mic'd up, so he doesn't really get the message. So I have to brake before going into the pit box. Nothing really lost in the end. Just a little bit annoying that I did lose that position before. As you can see, another bit of front wing on. I did slightly clip that at the Wall of Champions, not actually that long after I pitted. So disappointing, but again, another average pit stop. You don't really get much variation in pit stops on the game. Haven't really seen a sub 3 second. Sub 2 second would be absolutely amazing. But out on the cold tyres in 8th position. And now I've got to chase down Vortex for that 7th. And lap 27 saw me do that. Now I've been hunting him down for a couple of laps. Been faster than him. And I'm not trying anything stupid because there really wasn't anything else up for grabs in this race. Apart from that 7th place. As now getting the run on him. And when there's a DRS zone ahead of you, there's no point in trying anything stupid. He lets me pass nicely. And that's 7th place for myself, with about 7 laps left. And as we go into the second DRS zone, I have not got a good exit off any of the chicanes all weekend. Just about survive him. And then we move on to lap 30, where I've settled nicely into 7th position. Pulled away from Vortex, and as you can see, Robin has destroyed his car at the Wall of Champions. Final chance for a safety car. Doesn't look like we're going to get one. But as you can see, I'm up to 6th place, and Mackenzie's just a little bit too far away for me. Mitchell won the race. That is his 2nd in succession. He was looking really good for the World Championship. Coming across the line, looks as if it's going to be for 6th place. Actually turned out to be 5th, with Mackenzie taking a 20-second hit, unfortunately for him. So the first race concluded, and as you can see, I'm in 5th for the race. And there we are with the championship after the Canadian Grand Prix, which saw Mitchell once again on top. This time by 39 points from Matt, who moved up to 2nd in the Drivers' Championship. Well deserved for him after a really consistent season so far. Robin, Chris, and then myself making up the top 5. Really unbelievable stuff. With Samster, Itachi and Shaney making up the top 8. It is really unfortunate that Shaney broken his finger, but I guess that's something that you've got to get on with. As we move on to Silverstone now for the 2nd race. Yeah, it really is a bonus edition of the GP2 League. If you have persevered this far, then congratulations, I've got to say. As we're nearly 9 minutes in now. I starting from 5th place on the grid, with Gita having one of his best qualifying performances of the season. And Mitchell opting to start from the back, as now we've got 3, 4 and 5 red lights, and it was lights out for the British Grand Prix. Home Grand Prix for many of the drivers, apart from the 2 Ferraris and Mitchell, I believe. As the Saubers nearly taking each other out at the first turn. We've got Mackenzie and Matt really battling for position, as they took 2 of the front 3 grid spots. And a nice move from myself on Mackenzie, as he nearly gets me back. But up to 3rd position. My starts this year have been absolutely electric. I mean, I don't know what it is. I think it's just, you've really got to go into the first few corners. Obviously, you can't be stupid with the moves that you make, but you've really got to go in with no fear, because when you go in with fear, that is when accidents sometimes happen, because you back off, somebody else doesn't expect you to. And yeah, that's my words of wisdom for the day, I guess you could say. And yeah, settling into 3rd position actually quite nicely. Seem to have good pace on this circuit, obviously it is a circuit that I've driven on many games over the years, and I would guess that's probably the same for a lot of drivers, but it is a wonderful circuit. It has changed slightly after 2010, but as Matt doesn't quite get the exit that he'd like onto the Hanger Straight, we just come into the final complex now as we come onto the International Pit Complex into Club Corner. See, I even know all the corner names after visiting. Well, I actually did know all the corner names before, but after visiting in the summer for the Grand Prix, it really was a great experience. And actually on Club Corner I was just there. As we approach the start of lap 5, we've got a real good battle for the lead between Starkey and Matt, and I think it's Starkey who takes it, but I take my front wing off. That is not what I wanted at all. And now I'm going to have to go a whole lap limping back to the pit lane, as I seem to have ghosted, as Doughboy goes round the outside of me just about. And it was a painful visit back to the pit lane, and on lap 17 I had to nurse those tyres all the way to here after pitting on lap 4, and 13 laps on these Prem tyres really isn't a good thing to do, as Vortex really pulled away from me, and then I had Mackenzie on my tail, who just had to really wait for the DRS zone, but he tried one up the inside, which wasn't a clever thing to do in Maggots and Beckett's. That's probably why you don't see many Formula 1 drivers try and move down there. But Itachi waited, and the patience looked as if it was going to pay off, but actually I managed to gain DRS off Mackenzie, that slight moment that he did go ahead of me. As we then go here, oh dear, as Itachi just clips me, pushed me out, unfortunately, out onto the grass, but not really much damage. Well, he's actually lost 2 net positions there. But at the end of lap 20, I decided that it was going to be time to come in for some option tyres till the end of the race. I was losing second after second, and I'd really just wanted to get that 9th position. It hadn't been a great race after losing the front wing, but yeah, well, what can you do? I mean, it's just sort of a moment of, not madness, but just sort of something that you can't really avoid sometimes. As I'm down into 10th place, and I was going to have to chase Doughboy now for the 2 points. I mean, 1 point coming out of this Grand Prix, one of my strongest tracks over the years. It'd be very, very disappointing, but yeah, not a great race from my perspective once more, which is one of the reasons why I grouped them together. But as you can see, coming onto lap 22, going to try and set the fastest lap of the race, and doesn't that start well, eh? Going straight on, well, actually turning too early and then going straight on, and I'm just thinking at this point, right, am I going to retire from the race? And then I think no, because I really do want this 1 point. You never know what 1 point can do for the championship. So yeah, decided to carry on, and really just could not get out of this gravel at all. Yeah, it's very, very frustrating. Yeah, you can just sort of see the seconds tick away as you're fighting to get out of here, and I'm coming up to be lapped by everybody. But yeah, I got lapped by everybody, as I say, after coming in for another set of tyres. But it did end on quite a good note. I set the fastest lap on lap 24, and then bettered it on lap 25. It was basically qualifying pace. So yeah, not a great race at all for me, down in 10th place. With Starkey taking the win, it was great for him. I believe that is his first victory in the league, so a big congratulations to him, taking the victory off Mitchell. Which, yeah, I'm not. I don't have anything against Mitchell. It sounds always as if I do, but no, I mean, it's good to see somebody else win and just sort of keep the competition up. Really, Starkey looks as if he's got some really, really good pace, as a lot of the drivers in the league do. I mean, I'm no slouch when it comes to it, but as you can see, I'm in 5th in the championship still. With Shaney down in 8th, I'll go upwards to Itachi in 7th, who only got 2 points from that race. Samster unfortunately didn't attend once more in 6th, with myself 5th, Chris 4th, Matt 3rd, Robin 2nd, and Mitchell at the top. So that's it for this time, guys. Don't forget to catch me next week for Stop Drop Gaming's league race. See you next time.